Hello UPSC aspirants, hope you're doing fine. Recently, our Commerce and Industry Minister in Startup 20 Shikhar Summit concluded in Gurugram had made a statement that India provides unique opportunity to the world of startups. India has also reached the third largest startup ecosystem after US and China. And we are seeing news that the space startups in our country are booming. Skyroot wants to become the India SpaceX. The government wants to transform our country to new India in this Amrit Kal through startup ecosystem. And also the startup ecosystem is envisioned as the engine for sustainable economic growth in our country. So what are these startups? Why do we need startups at this juncture of our economy? What is the use of startups? First, let's see what is a startup. A startup is nothing but an early stage entrepreneurial venture. It is an early stage entrepreneurial venture from idea to materialization of idea. Whatever the process take place, that is called startup process. You have an idea, whether it could be new idea or an old idea. Whatever the process you do to get this idea materialized and sustained in the market, the processes, all the processes come under the startup processes. That is nothing but a business idea that you want to put in the market. Example, we have got Swiggy, Oyo. These are the ideas that you have developed and put in the market. It could be new idea or it could be old idea, like you want to start a coaching institute. Whatever resources that are required for old or new ideas, that resources are to be provided through the ecosystem. That ecosystem the government wants to create or facilitate through its schemes like Startup India campaign. Why startups at this juncture of economy? The first reason we can say is our demographic dividend. We have got 65% of 1.4 billion population under the age of 35 years. According to a UN report, India is set to be the youngest country by 2070. The unemployment rate in our country is 8.11% according to CMIE report of April 23. And all this unemployed youth, the energy, the resources, the creativity, the innovation of this unemployed labor force, we can channelize that in private businesses of them. India provides largest market with 1.4 billion population and 17.7% of world's population are in India. This is the opportunity we are providing for the startup ecosystem. Rural to urban migration. Rural to urban migration was 29% in 2021-22. What is the significance of this? When rural people are moving to urban areas, the urban areas need more infrastructure in health, education, waste management, in housing, in providing food, in providing sanitation, in providing energy resources, in providing water facilities. For all these, we need some more startups to meet the demands of the growing population in urban areas. And fifth one is national requirements. What are those national requirements? We can say defense. Most of the times we try to deal with other countries for technology transfer, which never happen. So in order to improve technology and customized products, secret products in defense technology, we need many startups in it. And to meet the growing energy demands, we are importing a lot of oil and gas from other countries and we are dependent on them. Rather, if we have innovation in meeting the demands in energy sector, let us say it could be in lithium batteries, it could be in hydrogen batteries, it could be in solar power, it could be in wind power. If we can innovate in energy sector, the growing demands of the people can be met. And next is space technology and agriculture. We need lot of innovation in food processing industries to increase the shelf life of the food products and to arrest hunger, starvation and malnourishment in the country. And the next important is new technology. What are this new technology? You can say 5G, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, data processing, gaming, entertainment. All these new technology related aspects have to be met through these startups only. And the next is FDI. According to our economic survey, India has received an FDI of $87.8 billion in financial year 2021-22. All that FDI we can use for this startup. Demographic dividend is our strength. Largest market gives opportunity. New technology gives scopes for the startups. Our national requirements gives again another opportunity. The largest FDI is our strength again. So we have got so many strengths and opportunities for the startup ecosystem in our country. Why do startups need push from the government side? Unemployed educated youth in our country wants to do a business, but they lack some resources, because of which they are not able to do startups. And they are dependent on regular sources of employment. It could be government employment or it could be private employment. So we can talk the requirements of startup. If we can see the requirements of startup, we can develop the startup ecosystem in our country. Along with requirements of startup, we will see what government has done for it. But when you want to start an idea, you need seed funding. What does this seed funding is? Let us say there is a company called Zomato. It is a platform for online delivery of restaurant food. So when you have this idea of Zomato, what are the things that are required? First is development of app, market research, right? Next is training the support team employees. So for this app development, what do you need? Developers, right? You need servers, right? You need other software employees. So for all these things, you need some money for the development of the app, to do the market research, to train your staff. For all these things, you need some money in the initial state. Before you going into the market, you do some initial preparation. For that initial preparation, you need funding. You need lots of amount of money. That is called seed funding. For this seed funding, the government of India, through its Startup India campaign, has given seed fund scheme. If you send your concept, idea or prototype or product trials to DPIIT, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, they will give you seed funding according to your project. And the next requirement of startup is, let us say you had got the seed funding, you developed the app. And next is, what is required? Government compliances, right? What are those compliances? It could be labor license, it could be environment clearances, it could be municipality license. If your startup is about food product, then you need FSSAI license. So it actually takes a lot of time to do all these licenses, right? So what is government doing is self-compliance or provision of some applications, websites, where you can agree to the terms of the government, where you can do self-certification also, through which the time for getting these licenses can be reduced. And third one is investment. What is this investment I am talking about is, after you go into the market, you need investment for your infrastructure, for maintenance, for operations, for management, personnel, for technical personnel. So for all these things you need again investment, no? Government has created fund of funds scheme. SIDBI fund of funds scheme has been given a corpus of 2,500 crores for 4 years up to 10,000 crores. And government has also created credit guarantee mechanism with a budgetary support of 500 crores per year up to 4 years. Right? So you can get investment through this credit guarantee mechanism or through SIDBI fund of funds scheme. Fourth requirement after investment is assistance. What is this assistance you need? You need assistance for operations. You need assistance for maintenance. You need assistance for management. For all these, only one person cannot do. Many people are required to do all these things. So, any startup needs assistance. What government is doing is, government is providing incubators. Government is providing incubators to provide assistance to the startups. What are these incubators? Incubators provide infrastructure, mentorship and financial requirements of the startups. It could be an industry, it could be a specified incubator for that. And fifth one is intellectual property rights. Sometimes the startups want to patent their brand name or the process so that the big companies do not copy them, do not compete with them. Government is providing facilitators to hold the patent processes, and these facilitators are funded by the government itself. And next one is exit. See, sometimes the idea won't work, so they should come out of the company. They should wind up the company if the whole process doesn't work. What is government doing is, in Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code of 2016, the government has facilitated smooth exit policy for startup companies. Paying taxes. Startups have to pay taxes to the government, right? Government is providing exemption from income tax for 3 years and capital gains tax who are ever investing in fund of funds. So with all these, see, these are the requirements for a startup to sustain in the market, and the government is providing all these facilities to sustain that startup in the market, right? But still, the startups are not faring well in our country. Last year, we had seen 100 plus unicorns, but only 15% of them are profitable. Remaining, they are not making much profits, as we can see from the various layoffs, for example, from Bezos or ShareChat or Zomato. So we are seeing so many layoffs because of non-profitable startups in our country. According to a report of IBM Institute for Business, 90% of the startups fail in the first 5 years itself. So why is it that startups are failing in our country? Let us see the challenges to the startups. The first challenge we are seeing is insufficiency of talent. Our education system is providing unskilled, educated youth in our country. Their talents most of the times are getting wasted because of our education system. That is the reason why startups are not able to get good employees from the educated youth of this country. And the next challenge is lack of risk-taking attitude by Indian investors due to high turnaround time. What does this mean? After you start your business, it would take around 2 to 3 years to get the profits. So that is called turnaround time. How much time you take, you get your profits or returns for your investment. Most of the investors in our country do not have this risk-taking attitude. That is the reason why startups are facing so many challenges in the initial phases itself. And the next one is the challenges in financing. Most of the angel investors and venture capitalists are interested in investing in established businesses rather than in the startups. And also, most of the social sector startups are not receiving funds from them. The startups related to health, agriculture, those are not receiving any from these investors, as they are not profitable according to them, and they are investing only in established businesses and profitable businesses, right? They are not, because they are not having risk taking attitude. And the fourth problem is personnel for management and mentorship. Most of the times these are very expensive for the startups. The management personnel and the mentors are very expensive for the startups, because of which the startups are not being profitable in our country. And the fifth problem is competition from established businesses. Many MSMEs are failing due to multinational companies, right? So the competition from established business is very heavy for the startups to fare well in the market. And the sixth problem is ease of doing business. India's rank in World Bank's ease of doing business is 63rd. Why this ease of doing business is a problem for us? Because of bureaucratic hurdles, right? Most of the times it takes a lot of time to move the file from lower level to the higher level. Inadequate infrastructure. What does it mean? Our infrastructure do not meet with the growing demands in health, roads, railways, airways, waterways, you can say, sanitation, housing, education. So we have inadequate infrastructure in our country, because of which we are not able to meet the demands of the startups. And eighth problem is economic and political instability in our country. Whenever party in power changes in a state, the policies also changes, the regulatory mechanisms changes. So all these instability will cause hurdles for the startups. Because of all these problems, the startups are not able to fare well in our country. If we have a successful startup ecosystem in our country, what can we do? We can transform our country to new India in this Amrit Kal. Along with that, we can achieve sustainable economic growth. What generally startups have is innovation, right? If we can provide lower strata of the people to do startups, we can achieve inclusivity, right? If we can provide the ecosystem services, startup ecosystem services to the underprivileged sections of our country, then we can provide inclusivity in our economy. And the startups also develop entrepreneurship, right? Entrepreneurship in our youth. So if we have innovation, inclusivity, entrepreneurship in our economy, we can get sustainable economic development. See, all these three can cause sustainable economic development by increasing employment opportunities. And India can become from job seekers to job creators. We can reduce our imports in defense technology, or in our energy requirements, or in our agricultural products. We can reduce our imports, and we could improve our exports by. And the next benefit we can see with this successful startup ecosystem is new economic opportunities to underprivileged sections of this country. If we can provide underprivileged sections new economic opportunities, what happens? Rich-poor divide can be reduced. Urban-rural divide can be reduced. Upper caste, lower caste, geographical divisions, religious divisions, all can be arrested if we can create economic opportunities to underprivileges. Thereby, political stability also can be achieved, right? We can also create real-time solutions. We can provide solutions to our real-time problems, right? What are those problems? The problems could be in education sector, the problems could be in health sector, the problem could be in transport sector, the problem could be in housing sector, the problem could be in defense technology, energy sector. So wherever we have got problems, all these problems can be addressed by innovation, inclusivity and entrepreneurship in our youth. By creating startup ecosystem in our country, we can transform our economy to sustainable economic development. This is the reason why startups are very important at this juncture of economy in our country. If you like our video, please like, share and subscribe to our channel.